Very clean.
I know, we're never.
Okay, clean away. I'm not asking you, Cleta, honestly. I'm asking Brad. Do you know about the military balance? And we have to confirm that.
I got the bear here because I just need just a little bit of an ear. There we go. Into some of these so they don't get the whole square of things. So, but I wanted to show you, let's start real quick with today's information. What does it consist of? So on America's Voice, let's start at our left up at the top of the TV there. I'm going to play a short clip, and this is Steve Bannon interviewing a Chinese person who's very familiar with the pandemic, things that are going on, etc. So let's hear what she has to say.
Now, I want to thank you very much for sharing this. As she said, spread the word to 3 people, and they'll spread it to another 3. I want to thank you very much. I know this is your nom de guerre, so we'll protect your secrecy. But thank you very much for coming on the show today and spreading.
Am I able to expand on why China is an economic collapse? Because without it, most people will understand the power of action. Because everyone thinks China is really powerful, but in reality, they are in the brink of economic collapse. A small push will make them fall off the cliff. They have.
She's saying everybody thinks that China is very powerful. She's saying that in fact they are not. That one push would push them right over a cliff.
An astronomical hidden national debt with an unstable demographic. Millions of.
She said they have an astronomical economic debt.
Unhappy people is a recipe for civil unrest. Their economy is on life support because they can't fix it.
Their economy is on life support and they can't fix it.
They're running out of young people to work in the factory
because they don't have more young people to work in the factories.
China is a terrible place to do business now because of corporate debt, rising cost of production, and the constant threat of factory takeover.
So she's saying that right now China is a terrible place to do business because of the constant threat of COVID, and that the Chinese Communist Party, the CCP, is trying to take over. They can take over any factory.
From the CCP. Why would any factory want to work there when they're facing rising labor costs and a threat of boycott from their customers?
She's saying, why would anybody want to do a factory with the threat of rising labor costs and that your factory could be taken from you?
The currency manipulation is catching up to them.
Currency manipulation.
By covering that up with money from the future, from their constant business and economic growth. Well, they are facing the end of their economic miracle. What happens when that suddenly...
She's saying they're facing the end of their economic miracle.
All their problems will be uncovered.
All of their things will be uncovered.
What they do was they spend as much as possible without limits to keep the Chinese people employed to state projects to prevent civil unrest. They are lending themselves money. So
basically, she had said that this could cause civil unrest.
They don't have, and more importantly, their banks don't have, and it is all implemented by incompetent party members. Now, what I want you to...
There's no money, and what money there is now in control of incompetent party members.
Imagine, think about the Congress, and think about what would it be like if Congress manage every single business in America. That's the level of incompetent management we're talking about.
So she's inviting you to imagine that if our Congress, who can't pass a law to save their life, were in charge of all the businesses, imagine what the economy of our country would be like.
What's happening in China, but in a massive, massive scale.
And it's on a big scale.
firms are loss-making. They are unbelievably inefficient, and 40% of their credit is going towards financing old loans. That means they are trying.
So right now, Dana, any business people out there, they're saying that up to 40% of the money that they're making is going to finance old loans.
To outrun their debt, but they are not running fast enough. They can't outrun this problem. All these issues are happening with no solutions in sight because they cannot maintain their ability to be the manufacturer of the world. They have killed most of their young people, and they can't keep this economic engine running. Their huge GDP debt ratio is 300%.
Wow.
So she's saying that the current GDP of it, it's 300%, just completely unsustainable. So this is what we're doing. Okay, I won't get caught up in the specifics, but I want to, this is where information, I look at this all day. So this particular show, if you want to call it that, they do 2 hours in the morning and they do 1 hour in the afternoon. It's available on all kinds of channels. That's why I'm not worried about showing it, even though it's small, because they're not going to copyright strike you. They put their, Steve Bannon puts his stuff out everywhere. Now, Steve Bannon used to be he was with Donald Trump, 2016. This guy, he's been around. He's a good guy. Definitely a good guy. So this is an example of how we get our news that you're hearing. So I'm listening to an assessment of what's really going on in China. So I'm adding that little piece to the puzzle. So we'll move away from there. Well, let me let you see the end of it so you can see, Steve.
Al, we have to bounce because we got a hard stop. I want to thank you and have you back on.
No worries.
Just absolutely amazing, Posobiec. This is a civilian that.
Wait, they can't stop.
Jack Posobiec, anybody?
In the war room, the sure, that's war room.
Okay, so there you go on that. Now that's a 10-minute deal on kind of the assessment of China. I'll have to edit this down and move along very quickly. I don't want this to be a horribly long video. So there you see one example. Okay, and I'm going to fly through these real quick. What you're seeing up here on this screen now is a Twitter account. Now you're seeing, here's a Gab account. That's another social media. It's very popular. You have to pay for, you don't have to, but you can opt to pay for a membership and get a little bit better experience, which I do. And it's fantastic, and it is really freedom of speech. Gab we'll talk about later. I'll talk about all these later, but right now we're just 30,000 foot view of where's this guy, me, getting all his information from every day. So, okay, now let's move along because it's going to get really interesting. So this is social media. I interact, I talk, I listen, I write stuff. Here's another one here. Let's take a quick, let's get motivated here. Now this might have the volume up. So this is how patriots stay motivated every day. Here you go. Hold the line, brother.
I will be a president for disease, joblessness, and hopelessness, anger, resentment, and hatred, extremism, lawlessness, violence, bitterness, and fury. No progress, no nation, only a state of chaos.
What you're watching
Kiss down my back and tell me it's raining. We gonna hold
is a meme.
We gonna hold
A damn good one.
We gonna hold
And it's meant
We gonna hold
to get you fired up. So, and if you don't know, I'll put links to all this stuff If you don't know, there's a lot of people out there asking lots of questions about lots of things. That's a fantastic meme. Just came out today. Very motivational. Don't play the whole thing. It's about 2 more minutes. Okay, moving right along. Here's our main guy here. I don't know if you can see him, but let me introduce you to 3-star General Michael Flynn. And we are at the social media site Clout Hub. CLOUT Hub. Clout Hub. And this is purported freedom of speech. But what we have over here is a couple people that I follow. One of them is General Flynn, and another one is who I like to call our favorite lawyer, Lin Wood. We'll talk more about these people, but these are the information truth givers. General Flynn's brother, also a general, Charles Flynn, was just assigned head over the South China Sea. So, incredibly important position. And this is one guy that I stay very, very close to, General Flynn. Okay. Now we come to a news story. Here's just the news. This is John Solomon. There is the actual story about Lieutenant General Charles Flynn, brother of Michael Flynn, is being assigned to head U.S. Army Pacific. Okay, and there's the story and all the links to articles. Now this is a very good newspaper, John Solomon. You see him on Fox News, major players all over the place. I'm sorry, major news. He goes on Lou Dobbs, he goes on Charles Payne on Fox, etc. And this is his news site. This is a website. So moving right along, we have the Gateway Pundit, and these are the brothers Hoft. This is Joe Hoft and his brother Jim, and they I don't know exactly, but I always see one or the other on this. These are tweetable stories that you can read and then tweet out, and that's what we're doing while we're sitting here reading these all day. We find the information, we share the information with our friends, we take that back over here to Twitter, we share that information, then we see what our other friends are sharing. That's how it works. Okay, so I'm moving down the deal. Here's another site. This is a YouTube alternative site called Rumble, and these show, I'll play you a little bit of a recent video. We'll listen to Mr. Lin Wood chat for just a minute or two.
Over. I put it on my Telegram social account.
Okay, so this is...
Since then, it's obviously gotten a lot of attention because I think people have listened. And I felt like Candy when I said this the next day after I thought.
Okay, we won't play too much of that, but that is a video that, this is a site that has allowed Lin Wood to post a video. Twitter and Facebook and other places, you won't see him on there anymore, and I'll tell you more about that later. Let's not worry about that right now. Let's just focus on, this is an alternative video site called Rumble. And then as we move along, we get away from the websites and more into individual packets of information that are posted to individual sites. And right now I have roughly, I'd say 60 or so of these. This one is called the Marshall Report. And as I scan through here, you're seeing not only just pictures. There's our friend, our lawyer, Mr. Lin Wood again. We're getting a story about the relationship between Washington, D.C., the Vatican City, and the City of London. A lot of people don't know that those are individual. The Washington, D.C., there's the flag flying there, is actually not part of the United States. It's separate and apart from it, as is the Vatican City, as is the City of London. So we'll talk more about that later, but right now this is a website that has information grouped together that's related to that. There's the flag that flies over Washington, D.C., there's the Vatican flag, and now here we'll find the City of London flag. And what does all that mean? What's the relationship? And here are a bunch of links. This is all current, and these are the Italian Prime Minister resigned today. And what is the relationship between Italy, Pakistan, and other countries, and the United States, and what's going on right now? The answer is a lot that we don't have time to go into. We're truckers, we're trucking, but that don't mean we're stupid. We don't know anything about the world, nor that we don't want to know about the world, because we do, and we have a right to. And we have people who are willing to go through all this stuff every day and try to encapsulate it into something meaningful, hit the high points, interesting points, and move along, which is what we're going to do now. So let's continue. Here's another site. This is by a gentleman called Patrick Byrne. He is most known for owning the company Overstock, but so his parents created the company. The logo of it is a gecko, so Geico Insurance. So he's doing pretty well financially. But what's important about that is not that he's a rich guy that owns a company. It's that he's taken all that money and put it into three things: gold, silver, and Bitcoin. So let's talk just for a second about Bitcoin. I'll tell you who can tell us something about it is this guy that runs this website, Patrick Byrne. And that's why this website's up there. But something else Patrick is doing is here's a picture of him. Some of you might recognize him. Let me see if I can make that bigger. It doesn't look like I can. I'll find one later. Okay, there he is. There he is. But he is highly into. Okay, there's Patrick on the right. It's Dave Rubin on the left. Here's Patrick on the right. That's what Patrick looks like. But he is high off into this election thing, and I'll tell you why he's into it. Patrick made a statement in one of the videos that using blockchain, which is the method under which Bitcoin operates, but it can also be used for voting and other things. It's a system, and I'm being very loose with this description. But Patrick said he has a doctorate degree, so he's highly educated. And he speaks to everyone and anyone. It's like he has this insatiable need to get information out. But some of that information is, he explained, got my attention, was he said that understanding blockchain and the mathematics involved in that was like a religious experience to him. And that caught my attention, a religious experience in math. And that's a nice segue into, you will find me on this channel. We are religious people. We do accept God of the Bible, Jesus of Nazareth, born of a virgin, living, raised from the dead, and to come back someday. But we don't want to get all preachy. We just want to give you some information, but we will be doing that later. Moving right along, here's another. This is a Patriot site, and I'm sure everybody has sites that they know about that they go on to, and I have many, and they change every day. For instance, this one just got complete. This is the Navarro Report. This is a frequent guest. He was just on Steve Bannon's show a little while earlier, on an earlier segment, but also a doctorate degree, and he's put together a very elaborate, extensive report on, let's say, things relating to the recent election that can be verified. They can be quantified, they can be measured, and they can be verified. They can be seen, they can be proven. The problem is people say, well, there's been 60, 80, 5,000 hearings that have gone to court. No, none of those have been heard, and we have to ask ourselves why. Why is this abundance of evidence that makes sense and is common sense evidence not being heard by anybody? That is a question. But this is where I get that information. This is just the three. These are PDFs. This one is 15 pages. I will just real quickly. I have printed this Navarro report. Here's a page of it. Here's what a page of it looks like. So let me get that up there to the camera. You see the box in the middle, and then there's states, 5 states, and then there's check marks on what each of those states have in common, and that's how that report works. And there's 3 of them. Okay, so we don't want to make this video too long. It's getting a little long, but I wanted to give you a little bit, I don't want to call it salacious material, but let's call it salacious material. Okay, I'm going to have to cover up the little bear's eyes on this. Okay, so what else can you find out there on the internet? We can find all sorts of stuff. Okay, how about this? How about that? That's a diary. How about this diary belongs to this person right here. Who's that? That's a certain, I have to be very careful because I have to put this out on YouTube, so even though it won't be monetized, it's a certain daughter of a person who's pretending to be president. Can we say it that way? Is that how we can say it? Currently the pretender in chief. Okay, so it's 112 pages. I've been reading through it. Look, it just flicks along. See me flipping the pages there. On page 25, let's just go back there real quick. On page 25, let me just read that. But I remember trauma. I remember not liking the Woolsacks house. I remember something being sexualized with Caroline. I remember having sex with friends at a young age. Showers with my dad, parenthesis, probably not appropriate. Being turned on when I wasn't supposed to be. I remember the Q-tips. I hated getting my ears clean. I'm not going to read past that because we get into superb, my something, overhearing people. Okay, so anyway, I hadn't really planned on that, but that was I was just browsing through the contents of that. So this is available online now, and so how exactly would a person find something like that online? Well, that's a good question. I'm going to show you one of the neatest little things that's come down the pike today. Now here's a program here. Let me make this a little bit more clear. Let me help you understand what's happening. I have all these things I just showed you running in a browser. Okay, I have a Brave browser. We'll talk about that later. But they're running in a browser. Okay, and in the window. And the reason I want to show you that is because this is part of the operating system, and this is part of in my browser. I'm on the internet. Okay, so we browse things, we go on the internet. Here's all these pages I showed you earlier. They're all on the internet. Okay, you have to have a browser to get to them. Okay, now this thing down here, it's in let me resize this. It's also in a window, but this is not on the internet. This is a messaging service that is connected through my phone. Okay, so completely different. And so I wanted you to see it in the window, but it's not running over, it's not like this window. This is all the stuff that's connected through web pages and applications. Twitter is an application that I'm running it through my browser. Gab is an application that I'm running. It's a chat deal, but all that stuff's on the internet, where this is running very similar, like you're sending a text message. You don't need the internet to send a text message. Okay, now we've got that out of the way. And it's important that you understand that. It takes a little bit to get all this stuff set up and keep it running. Now here's how messages come in. Here's one right here from a lawyer named Sidney Powell. And then here's the messages. Okay, these are clips, videos, words. She can write things just like you can text. You could send a picture like on your phone and things like that. Okay, and one of the things, remember I was talking about this guy, Patrick Byrne, who owned the company Overstock? Now, some of his messages are super duper good. Now, our lawyer, too, our lawyer friend. Now, okay, now there's our, we're seeing our diary again there, and we're seeing a video, but here's something you won't see anywhere else. Now here we're going to hear a guy talking. And I'm going to turn this up.
What can you tell us about his involvement with foreign nations, with any type of intelligence transfer into groups outside of the country?
This goes back to the FBI operation on Ghost Stories. It was very successful. They just kept...
Okay, and I'm sure the volume's way down on that, but what I want you to hear is there's a person talking there. He's shielded out. He's not trying to hide from the spooks. This guy's a spook, and he's sick of the crap, and he's decided he'd like to talk about it. So he got a hold of some people who arranged this, and it's all been done, and it's through our friendly lawyer. So there's a lot of stuff going on. This goes very high up when people are saying, well, how come people are saying bad things about Chief Justice Roberts and saying things about Mike Pence? All right, I'm not going to play the deal, but this is where it's coming from. And this guy's highly believable. He's got a lot of information. He knows a lot of things. And you listen to him talk, and he doesn't stutter, he doesn't stumble, and he knows the answer. So that's a way we get things. Here's another guy that, there you go. This is a different guy, but you see the same thing. There's them letters again. Here we go with some more videos and things. Here's a guy, a Chinese guy that's thing. There's our president. Okay, now before we go, I want to show you one last thing on my list of people that I check in with every day. And this will be the way I close. Okay, now remember, I'm not trying to impress you with, just trying to say this is where I get my information. It's like a 30-minute video showing you all this. But look, there's some happy news here. Now, I don't know exactly who this person is, but he got on Twitter with a brand new account and he said, hello, I am brand new to Twitter. What are you guys up to? And with that very powerful, bold, original statement, he got 1.9 million likes off of that, including one from me. Here's his picture that he's using. Now, is he real? I don't know. Who's real and who's not? I have no idea. He's got a mustache on there, which kind of, sort of looks familiar. But he's going by a deal where he's kicking off his own thing that he'd like to make America Barron again. So let me introduce you to John Barron. And if you didn't know that, the story of why Barron is named Barron isn't just, he didn't just pull that out of a hat. There's a family lineage. And he tweets little things. He tweeted this about 5 hours ago, and he put his, put his little hamburgers up there, and he said he just signed an executive order stating that any president who is impeached twice but never convicted and also lives in Florida automatically gets a brand new 4-year term. Checkmate. MABA. Hashtag MABA. Make America Barron again. Make America Barron again. For hanging out this long, I'm looking at 37 minutes, and I know I'm going to put an intro on there, but this is my trailer, and I'm grateful that you listened to the whole thing, and I appreciate it, and I hope it didn't take too much out of you and me. And I don't have a name for this bear yet, and he's not a Trumpy bear. I got him at a garage sale, and he just looks so happy. I just bought him, and his little ear just, so I don't get for copyright strike. So thank you all. I appreciate it. I will see you soon. I'm happy. I'm stoked, and we're all going to get somewhere doing something. We're going to have fun doing it. Life is great. Carry on. Hammer down. See you later.